Good evening, Trump family. Welcome to Open Source News. Thank you for joining me. God bless each and every one of you. Alright, the following is a collection of news from Patriots. Let's get into the news. And more I hear from Kari Lake, the more and more I absolutely love this lady who is running for governor of Arizona, and right now she has a 5-point lead over her opponent Katie Hobbs, the Democrat who refuses to debate her, who refuses to even come out of the basement, because she's afraid to answer for her policy decisions. And of course, her ideology, which she cannot defend because most Americans in this country are still sane, rational individuals who reject the Democrat Party platform, which is currently going after kids, transitioning kids, mutilating kids. It's an absolute horror thing that's currently going on right now, even to the child drag shows that they continue to promote. This is the Democrat Party, and they're unfocused on the border. Of course, they're on focus with the things that are coming through the border. 2 million since Biden regime's taken charge. This is not by accident. Of course, this is all by design by these people. But Kari Lake is one of the ones who have the voice, who's willing to stand up to this cartel of politicians who continue to want to destroy this country, and she's willing to go ahead and back it up, especially when she becomes governor. Well, Liz Cheney had something to say about that. Liz Cheney, of course, it's all but a Democrat by this point. Now, even though she continues to remain a Republican in name only, she is attacking people like Kari Lake and others. And Kari Lake did a fabulous job of absolutely mocking this porous to use for a politician, Republican conservative, whatever she wants to call herself in Congress today. So let's get to take a look what we have here, and it's just as this here come, says the well, I should go ahead and put it on the screen for you guys. There we go. The people of Wyoming can't stand her. She should change her registration. Kari Lake gross Liz Cheney after her vicious attacks and promise to campaign with Democrats. Yeah, that is Liz Cheney for you guys. So here's the video of that altercation. Everyone listen to this. No, this is one of your top priorities to clean up the border. Should you win in November? I want to point out what Liz Cheney has said about you. When speaking at this Texas Tribune conference yesterday, she says, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure Kari Lake is not elected. Your reaction? Kari Lake said, that might be the best gift I've ever received. I mean, the people of Wyoming can't stand her. I'm pretty much sure that the people of Arizona don't like Liz Cheney. You know, here's the deal. Maria, the Republican Party, the new Republican Party is the party of we the people, it is no longer the party of warmongers. And so Liz Cheney probably should change your voter registration. Turns out she really is a Democrat, after all. Well, let's talk about your agenda. As she said, it does include campaigning with the Democrats to make sure that you don't win. Tell me what your priorities are in terms of your own agenda. And then I want to get to the Dobbs rolling and your thoughts on abortion. I know we haven't heard from you on that subject, but go through your agenda. Kari Lake said, well, first and foremost, that border day one, we're going to issue a declaration of invasion, call it what it is, and we're gonna get troops on the ground and stop people from coming over, give reinforcements to our border sheriffs, and stop this madness. We just had the largest drug bust in the history of drug busts in Phoenix, Arizona this week, 1 million fentanyl pills. This is a poisoning of America. I don't even call them drug overdoses because one half a pill can kill you. They are trying to take down this country. All you have to do is look back in history at the Opium Wars and see that they brought down dynasties with drugs. And that's what they're attempting to do. We have to tackle our border. We will start that on day one. We're also going to start working on the workforce issues that we have by bringing vocational and trade skill training into our high schools in a bigger way. So that after 10th grade, high school students can get some real training for the real jobs that are out there. These trade jobs will allow kids to make good money where they can actually support themselves. We're going to bring that into our schools. And we're also going to look at our long-term water issues as Arizona grows. We have. Okay. Of course, she continues on lay on our platform, which is fantastic. I encourage you guys to go check out her website. And check out what she all stands for, especially if you're in Arizona, and you're still undecided about voting for Katie Hobbs or Kari Lake, and I would say Kari Lake would be the fantastic choice. But back to the thing at hand. Liz Cheney has shown you the people of the Republican Party, at least I hope so, that she is nothing more than Democrat opportunists who wants to continue to have forever wars and continue to lie in her pockets, and Kari Lake absolutely highlighted Then, the Democrat Party, otherwise known as, am I right, folks? Right? Obviously not. It's the party of anti-science, the party of pseudoscience, the party that believes that men can get pregnant, the party that takes political rhetoric and talking points and disinformation campaigns as undeniable science, kind of like the whole horse pace thing from however many months ago, instead of actually doing real research of their own. And I don't know, doing stuff like taking a look at peer-reviewed studies, while the party of anti-science hits us once again, this time with Georgia Democrat gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams, who continues to develop her view on abortion, and possibly the weirdest, most unscientific and frankly, the most unsafe strategic way possible, at least in terms of getting elected. It seems as though she's running a campaign that maybe she should think before she speaks. But instead, she's diving directly into the most extreme radical left-wing positions, and now apparently justifying her increasingly more extreme view on the procedure with a totally unhinged, insane conspiracy theory exposes just how heartless and totally void of compassion Democrats really are. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here. Let's talk about what Stacey Abrams said. Let's talk about what Planned Parenthood is doing. And then, of course, let's talk about the implications when it comes to the gubernatorial election in the state of Georgia. Surprise, surprise, when it comes to political strategy. Democrats don't know what they're doing and don't know what they're talking about. I know it's shocking. It's real surprising. Alright, I've heard a whole lot of things. I've heard a whole lot of talking points. I have never heard this kind of conspiracy. Georgia Democrat Stacey Abrams says that there is no such thing as a heartbeat at 6 weeks, but rather, it is a manufactured sound designed to convince people that men have the right to take control of a woman's body. It's just a sound. It's engineered or manufactured by the QAnon-alien Russians who have infiltrated our planet and our society. What an absolutely unhinged conspiracy theory, I think, is probably what most normal human beings are thinking. That's certainly not the human beings at Planned Parenthood, who immediately took this talking point from Stacey Abrams and changed their own definition of a fetal heartbeat on their website. Literally the next day, Planned Parenthood quietly edits website about fetal development, calls baby's heartbeat, quote, cardiac activity. Take a look at this, friends. A tweet from Ashley Street Claire, Planned Parenthood's website was quietly updated today to remove that a baby has a heartbeat at 5 to 6 weeks. Trust the science no matter how many times we change it to fit our narrative. What happens during week 5 to 6? A very basic beating heart and circulatory system develop. That was the old website. Now a part of the embryo starts to show cardiac activity. It sounds like a heartbeat on an ultrasound, but it's not a fully formed heart. It's the earliest stage of the heart developing. But I have to admit, while I think this stealth edit is pretty bad from Planned Parenthood, it's not nearly as bad as what Stacey Abrams' implication was, the fact that it's somehow a manufactured sound just to make men believe that they have the ability to control women. What kind of nonsense is that? And of course, all the copious and B's justification is coming in from all these leftist activists that are trying to defend Stacey Abrams' indefensible claim. What she really meant to say, or what she really was saying, was that it's not actually a heart. No, you're right. It's just a cardiovascular system that's pumping blood through the embryo's body. What do we call that again? Huh? What's that? The definition of what's that describing? Oh, yeah, a damn heart. Is it a fully fledged, fully developed human heart? No, but it's essentially the same thing. It's the first developing stage of that, and the sound isn't manufactured. It's a literal heartbeat, a pulse of blood circulating through the embryo, circulating through that little body, signifying life, giving it life, and allowing that body to grow and develop. These leftovers are unbelievable when they don't get what they want. When they're losing the debate, when they're losing an argument. They just invent random pseudoscience, nonsense, and conspiracy theory. And then they have the audacity to claim that you're the party of anti-science, or the Republican Party as the party of anti-science and the political group representing conspiracy theory. All they ever do is traffic nonsense, conspiracy theory, and anti-science or pseudoscience. I mean, they will literally say anything regardless of how cold and heartless, regardless of how unscientific and ridiculous, as long as it leads to the political end that they desire. The ends almost always justify the means when it comes to political activism, rhetoric, or political campaigning course on the left side. It's just a bad look. And going back to Stacey Abrams in her unhinged conspiracy theory, it's a bad look. Again, this is something Democrats don't seem to understand. You look extreme. Stacey Abrams is actively campaigning. And so far, It seems like she's making her entire campaign about abortion, except her view or her stance is getting increasingly more radical. This is an incredibly dumb political strategy, especially in the state of Georgia. Stacey Abrams' political image has gone from being a voting rights activist or anti-voter suppression, whatever all the nonsense she's talking about, to essentially being a post-Roe v. Wade abortion activist, where she regularly does interviews and refuses to name even a single limitation or restriction that should be applied to the medical procedure. That's extreme. And that represents an extreme minority of the population in terms of people that support that stance. And now she's saying stuff like this. I mean, how do you expect to get elected with this image, with this being at the forefront or being the centerpiece of your campaigning? It's a complete joke, especially when you look at the data. I mean, instantly, what I thought is, what's the Georgia view on this medical procedure? There's no way it's even close to as liberal as it is in California. You Google abortion poll, Georgia, and we see views on the issue among adults in Georgia. 48% believe that it should be legal in almost all cases. 49% believe it should be illegal. A majority of Georgia residents or Georgia adults do not support the procedure, and even the 48% that do, probably most of that support drops off after the first trimester, meaning Stacey Abrams is in the extreme minority and does not represent Georgia voters on this issue. In fact, even if you go based on religious groups, and you take a look at historically black Protestant, it's still almost evenly split and there's no majority supporting her stance. So when you see articles like this from ABC News, black voters could push Stacey Abrams to victory in Georgia. Well, they probably not, if this is her main campaigning slogan that a fetal heartbeat is a manufactured sound used by men to control women. Absolutely stupid. In fact, it's stunningly stupid. All Stacey Abrams has to do is literally say nothing, and she'd probably be performing better in the polls. She's trailing big time, and most likely when we get the actual election results, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Stacey Abrams lose by 5 or 6 percentage points. The simple fact of the matter is we're seeing these Democratic candidates adopt more extreme messaging campaigns. We've covered Mandela Barnes, John Fetterman, and now Stacey Abrams, and they're all running in historically moderate states. It's not gonna work. Their stances are extreme. They're radical: abortion with no limits, defunding the police, releasing the prison population, justifying riots, violence, arson, targeting black communities when you don't get what you want politically. These are not winning campaign messages, and I just have a feeling that Democrats are going to have to learn this lesson, probably the hard way. But of course, that's just one man and one man's opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, give me your thoughts below. And hit subscribe right now.